From Hasan Minhaj to Jai Wolf, my next guest has established himself as the designer Brown Excellence hits up when they try to get their fits off. I am joined today by the founder of Saaf Garments, the Osama Syed.
It's Lil Baby.
My guy.
Thank you so much.
How does one come to dress Hasan Minhaj as he takes on MSG to a sold out crowd?
Yeah, so I think that was a dope experience. So it was Zakir Khan's show. I think, look, first of all, shout out to like all the wonderful and great people that are doing amazing things. I think the culture is winning right now. Like as a whole, we're on like this brown wave. You know, from Zakir Khan selling out as the first Indian artist, MSG, to Hasan Minhaj opening for him and bringing him out there, and then Zohran Mamdani winning as mayor-elect. I think the culture is winning. The Hasan Minhaj thing came to be because, I'm a huge fan of Zakir Khan. Like I could quote line by line some of his comedy, and I've been following him since like 2018. So just to kind of set the stage, it's like a full circle moment for me to be able to I bought tickets to go see that show by myself. Like there was no Hasan Minhaj in the ether. Now, me and Hasan, we've known each other for a bit of time, and I dressed Hasan Minhaj before, and he's a good friend of mine. He's cool. But I didn't know that he was going to bring him out. Like he had mentioned to me, but I was just like, I don't know if that's going to be true. And the day before, like, I'm like driving with my parents. My parents flew into town. I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. They flew in. I was like, I got to take you to this show. And they're like, oh, we don't want to go. I'm like, I got to take you to this show. So my parents were in the car with me. I'm on the West Side Highway. Boom, I get a text message from my guy. He's like, yo, I need a fit for tomorrow. And that's like 7 p.m. Show's tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, so I just pulled up to his place with a few options. And, it was magic, to be honest, because we didn't know if things were going to fit. That's the other thing. Like a lot of these things that happen, many of them are not planned. You really can't plan. And if you're a fashion designer trying to plan on these things happening, I wouldn't recommend it. So, it was just, we were just talking about timing being divine. Like timing was divine. I mean, he pulled up and he's like, hey, I need something. And I had something for him. And then we got to see the photo. Like it was insane. Like he brought, like the energy was crazy. I remember walking out on stage. We were backstage, just seeing him like get, we like dressed him on video. And then, we took our seats and the man comes out and the crowd went crazy. And just to be able to bear witness that moment, not only as a cultural moment, but also to be able to see something that I sketched on paper, to be on somebody in a sold out crowd at MSG, on Hasan Minhaj, like arguably some of the most iconic comedians of our time on stage. It was like insane.
I mean, it has to be insane for you because like I think about just like as a performer, right? Like what MSG is
Insane.
And like it's the same thing, right? It's
Totally.
like you as like a designer seeing like your work on like one of the most hollowed stages
Insane, yo.
ever,
Yeah,
right? It's
for
got to
sure.
feel crazy. So like you mentioned like how a lot of people kind of like bank on that, and I've heard like designers try to get certain people like their pieces and their
For
outfits.
sure.
Like how often is that the case where somebody is personally hitting you compared to like, okay, like I have to go through like a stylist or I'm trying to get a placement here, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of yours have been like organic fits.
Yeah, I mean, look, the game was when I first started out. So I started out the brand in October. I launched my first collection in October 2023. And the first thing I did was actually hire a PR firm because I wanted Saaf Garments to play at the highest level possible. And the best way to get access to these people was through stylists. So the first year, we really focused on PR placements. And we launched in October. We got our first, Hollywood red carpet Vogue party with Bobby Burke. And he wore the fit through a stylist who is shout out to Benjamin, much love, and Bobby. But that was through the PR firm. And, the stylist will come to a PR firm, take the clothes on loan, wear them, and that's kind of how the process works. So largely, I was really focused on that because that doesn't do anything but create credibility as a brand. And that was like really important as a newcomer into this space. And so I focused on like, how do I immediately establish credibility? And so one was PR placements. Two was making sure the clothes were actually what I said they were: high quality, thoughtful design, thoughtful tailoring, thoughtful craftsmanship. And three, just being able to be dope, like overall, like that people would want to wear it. So step one was PR, no doubt about it. Now, the Hasan thing, that was very organic. Like he literally saw me. I saw him at like an Eid party. He complimented me like year one. He saw the fit. I didn't know him that well. And then it was actually after Eid one year, he just hit me up. He's like, hey, I need a fit for somewhere else. So that's been like, I've been grateful for that. But I think that's also the proximity in New York City.
I think that's like the real value of like New York, especially like I see like the way that like you move around, right? I think like the fact is like the fits are fire, right? I mean that starts at like that's like point A
For sure.
right? And then point B is the, like you said, like the proximity to it all, right?
For sure.
And being able to represent your brand at like a high level and represent it well, right? Like obviously like you being the face of your brand as like the designer.
For sure.
Also being in the rooms where some of these people decisions are being made.
Yeah.
Definitely helps, right? Because then you remember, like you said, like I see the fit is fire, point A.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, like you're in my proximity to be able to, okay, when I need it.
Yep.
When I need it for MSG.
Yep. And it was just like,
I got you.
And I also think it's like the bigger important piece is like being able to build, I mean, in this game or any game, is like organic relationships. If you force it, it won't happen. That's just like, you know, you could try, you might be a little successful in the short term, but like long term, I'm playing the long game. You know, we've seen each other for, you know, many years now.
Yeah.
And, you know, it took 2 years to make this happen. But I believe this is the right time for us to be connecting. And so I believe in being able to build like long-term relationships with people, albeit like even, you know, in short bursts. Like I saw Hasan a few times and it was just natural because he saw the brand. And I can't tell you all the things that led him to like hit me the night before, but I'm grateful he did. I'm grateful he shared that moment with me. And I just like short story. He asked me if I would be at the show. I was like, of course, you know, he knew how big a fan I was with Zohran. And he's like, all right, cool. Like, put your name on the list. Like, you're going to come with me, like, backstage. And that was like an insane experience because, you know, you really can't count on these experiences happening until they happen. And I was so grateful because, man, we drove like the garage door, like it's door 8 or whatever is the artist entrance. And those garage doors open and Hasan's car pulls in and my car pulls in afterwards. And my parents are with me. It was the most insane thing to be able to like be there in that moment with my parents and like something that I started as a creative endeavor turning into like this massive moment, not only for my family, but like for the culture. That to me, like I'll never be grateful enough for. It was like super dope.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, bro. And like that's where I think like the story to me is like insane because like I know that this is like it's not even like a end point for you. It's like you're just getting started, right? And like because I 1,000%, like 1,000, like I know we've talked about this. I deadass thought that Zohran was gonna come out in a Saaf fit.
Hey man, I would, you know, what he will wear Saaf. He will.
Like
he
that's
will
like
he will wear Saaf.
Like that's like we could put that on like wax here, right? Like I'm not gonna make Osama say it, right? But I will say it. Like Zohran will be wearing a Saaf fit at some point, right?
Yeah, for sure. We could get him in the clothes. I mean, look, it's just, you know, I'm gonna talk to Zohran if you're listening. I got you. Whatever you need, man. That's it. I got him.
I 1,000% expected on inauguration night. I was like, how? Because everything about Zohran's campaign was so like just perfectly placed, and I was like, how insane would it be?
It would have been insane. But I will also say, like, it was the choices that the stylistic choices that he made that night, what he wore that night. You know, that was pre-planned. You know, they had that in the tank. He had a stylist that he was working with. And look, everything that was executed from his stylistic choices, like he went with skinny lapels, he went with kind of more fitted suiting, and that kind of represents who he is, and at least where his politics land. You know, it's anti-establishment, and it's like it's a new wave, the man of the people, and I think those choices are the appropriate choices. But there will be a time where he'll want to have, you know, exaggerated shoulders, you know, and wider lapels. And when that time comes, I will be ready.
Inauguration. Yo, Zohran. Inauguration. No, that's crazy. Yo, when you think about like, I don't think we've ever had this conversation, like even off mic, right? When you think about like brown style icons, like who do you think about?
So I think Tan France.
Okay.
Is like incredibly like skilled. In fact, Tan, I met Tan recently, and the first thing he started to give me is a free game. Like Tan has had multiple brands. You know, he was a designer. He sold multiple brands, and he immediately talked about like he saw my shoulder, like he saw this crop jacket I was wearing, and he started immediately giving me advice on like it was like really dope. So I have a lot of respect for that. Riz Ahmed is like crushing the game. I mean, if you look at it, like actually today he just came out with like a cover shoot and it's like insane. So I think those people are like crushing it. And then in Bollywood, Sunil Shetty is like, I think people sleep on him, like because he's of the the 90s generation. But man, he throws some fits. Like not only is he like fully manicured head to toe, like I mean his hair to his beard, but the outfits that he wears and his stylist, they're pulling off magic. Like every fit is insane for somebody who's 62 years old. Like a lot of people can learn a lot from him, I think.
Really?
100%.
I gotta peep. Like that's not who I would like. If,
nah, everybody's sleeping. Wake up.
I was thinking about this like on the way over. I was like, damn. Like I wonder who else I was like would say to this. Right?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, there was a couple of names that I was like thinking about. Right?
Yeah.
Like Tan definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. I think Riz definitely makes sense. I think Hasan is also like.
Oh yeah,
there.
for sure.
I think Hasan is definitely up there as well. On the side of, I think Purna J dresses.
Oh my God. Oh, Purna. Oh, I forgot. Oh my God. She's going to kill me.
You forgot
She's going to kill me. Oh my God. I just saw Purna. Purna and I just had, she's going to kill me. We just had country rolls, man, just like recently. At like, in the middle of the night. It was crazy. After an event, she took like 9 of us to go get country rolls. It was a great.
Yeah. Purna fits me.
No, Purna. So Purna and I, we will collaborate. Purna, I'm sorry. I forgot. You are the GOAT. Purna is the GOAT. But Purna pulls off fits for fun. Like there's not a moment. Purna's not going to come anywhere unless she's going to come correct. Like you have yet to, and also she like really understands an acute like awareness around how to structure fits in a way, and she does it herself. She's doing this herself. She reached out to me, and I dropped the ball. I'm gonna be honest, I dropped the ball on this, but we were going to pick it back up. But to do a custom fit, and Delhi Boy season 2 is currently being shot, and so I think for that press tour, we will make something happen.
You could just tell we're not like on a random like whatever day.
Man, on
a random whatever.
You brought her up,
did,
and I was like, oh my God.
Whatever day we did our interview, Purna just pulls up. Like, go back and look at that clip of Purna on CC, right?
Oh yeah,
she pulls out the craziest fit. She's like on a regular.
No, that's like a Tuesday.
That's
Tuesday.
like I dead ass think it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
She had like. Literally, all she was doing that day was just doing press.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, you just pulled out that kind of fit.
No, I mean, it's like over press days. Any day.
I
mean, I'm, the closet's insane. And she's like acutely aware. And also one thing just to give people flowers, to be at the stage that Purna's at, she is so kind and lends her stage to others to like build off. And I think that's like so cool. Like she's so kind. She's so giving. And she has an incredible platform. She's an incredible actress and artist, but she's also like aware of like what it takes for those people who are trying to make it and giving it a shot to like up and comers. And I think that's like such an endearing quality about somebody who has a platform.
No, absolutely. Like she really didn't have to like. I thought like even when she did this, like I thought she was going to give us like 10 minutes. That's what that's what we were prepped for right?
Sure.
And then she sat there. Like no stopping, no nothing. For like a good 30. That's amazing. I'm like, that's amazing. Like I know that this is like
Purna is somebody who. So I was just having a conversation with my wife, but there's people who I believe that I'll quote Zohran Khan. Zohran Khan says and I've quoted him now a few times on pods, but he basically says that all I've earned is people. Like he's like if all I earn in my life is people, then I'm cool with that. And Purna is one of those people. She has earned people. She can raise armies of people to support her just because of the nature of who she is. And I don't think it's pretentious at all. I think that's just the nature of her being. And I think that's such a cool thing. And I admire it a lot.
No, those are the people that you want to see win. And those are the people that inevitably win like long term, right?
Of course.
Because they have these
100%.
Deep, well-built relationships that come from, again, you can't fake it. Like we were talking about like how, like even for Zohran's campaign, like it's hard to fake something for that long if that's not who you really is.
No,
right?
you absolutely have to lean in. And like if you're performing, then that sustained performance is like you have to either that's innately who you are, or you just have to be like a skilled magician. And I don't think anybody can
hold the facade for that long, right? Like I think the facade has to the facade drops for people, right? At some point, because people spend enough time with you, get to know you long enough where you're like, okay, this is not who this is. But whether it's like Zohran or Purna, like you never feel that way because they are 100%
Of course.
who they are.
Yep. And I know people in Zohran's camp. I've never met him directly, but like everybody raves about how like who you see is who he actually is, which I think is an incredible testament to like people. They say that about Shah Rukh Khan. They say that about Shah Rukh Khan. Like you meet him and he makes you feel like the only person in the world. And like that's such a like if there's one thing that I aspire to is like, okay, in the rooms that I'm not in, how do I get to that level where people are like, no, that's that guy. You know, because that to me is like that's timeless.
I mean, you building it out already, bro. Like think about it, bro. Before we even met, like so many people had, and that's when I knew. That's when you can always tell that somebody is like onto something and somebody's solid, right? With exactly that, right? That before we knew each other from a hole in the wall, people that I had just crossed paths with were just like, yo, look, you got to tap in with Osama.
Oh man,
not somebody who like I don't need a fit, none of that. They're like, yo, you just need to meet the person.
Oh man, that's love. Thank you so much.
Right? Like bro. Yo, I have this because I like do this, right? I have like a hit list of people that I like 1,000% want to interview, right? Are there people that you haven't dressed that you would love to dress?
Yeah, I think there definitely is. Coleman Domingo is definitely one of them.
Coleman Domingo is a
great, Mahershala Ali is definitely another one. Like really, I mean, the list could go frankly on and on. But I think those two pop out like almost immediately. When I came out with the pleated long jacket, which is the flagship garment of Saaf Garments, Blade was actually like, you know, like moving in in and out of production, but like immediately like my PR firm at the time got me in contact with Mahershala Ali's stylist, and like we actually had a plan to like rock and roll. The movie I think is, you know, indefinitely paused, which is a bummer, but that's definitely one. And then number two, Coleman Domingo, I feel like he just pulls off like insane fits in such a like incredible way. And I think for Saaf Garments as a brand, you know, we don't have like typical silhouettes. Like we're just now with Fall Winter 25, which is about to drop, we're about to come out with like our first double-breasted suit, like an actual suit. Which is significantly inspired by like, you know, late 1980s and early 90s, you know, dramatic shoulders, wide lapels, like really, I think it's the best collection we've come out with. I'm super excited to roll out. We're introducing a brand new color that's brown, but the silhouette is like really inspired by the Mughal Empire, Sufism, like whirling dervishes, in New York City. And those are kind of like where I stand. And so, and then now in their current collection, like the one that's about to come out, things that have like really inspired me. Like growing up, I really wanted to be able to like wear a suit and tie because I just felt like that was what defined success at that time. And like so now, and for a very long time, I had like a pretty strong obsession with suits. I would exclusively wear suits. And so once I founded the brand, I kind of branched it back out to like streetwear so like my roots are like really commingled with like this extreme sartorialism where I'm only wearing suits, or like this extreme like hip hop. Like I grew up in like the 2000s, you know what I mean? Like, and like I grew up between the Carter 3, Lil Wayne, and Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham. Like that's the intersection. So there's like there's so many things loaded. So like my background really influences where I'm at today. But those two people, like Coleman Domingo and like Mahershala Ali, like they also are people who I would describe as like not like you would like they have so much depth and layers, and even in the way in their stylistic choices. If you see Mahershala Ali dress, one of the goats, like he's crushing it, and he's been doing it for such a sustained period of time. And then Coleman Domingo, like anything he comes out with, any fit he comes out, he's popping off.
You got fashion pet peeves?
Do I have fashion pet peeves?
Because like when I think about Saaf Garments, I think about such like a commitment to like excellence, right? I was actually surprised that you used the word streetwear. Yeah. Right? Because I definitely see the influence of hip hop inside Saaf Garments. Yep. But I don't know if streetwear would be the first because of, I guess, like where the quality point is.
No, it would absolutely, it's the Saaf Garments is not streetwear.
Yeah, for sure not.
Yeah. I mean, there are influences, like what I'm wearing right now, this is like the uniform of Saaf Garments, but it's like a oversized band collared shirt with a wide leg pant. That's what I wear like 99% of the time. You see me, I'm in this fit in a different fabric or color, like 99% of the time. But no, Saaf Garments is men's occasion wear. It's red carpet ready. Saaf Garments is for people when you're about to step into your moment, you put Saaf Garments on. Like that's squarely where I want the brand to be. That's the brand identity. So even from like a fabric perspective, even from a tailoring perspective, like everything is like really well thought of. And I'm new to this. Like fashion is something that I was always interested in, but like I didn't go to fashion school. So like everybody I'm working with, like my manufacturing partners and the people that I'm trying to ideate with, they've been doing this for generations. My shoes are made in Italy. The silhouette is, very South Asian, but the manufacturing is in like Italian. And this is third generation. Like the grandfather, father, and now the son is running the shop. And I know, who's making those shoes. I just had eyewear. I stepped into eyewear, and that is made in Sabe, Japan, where, some of the world's best eyewear is made. And when I started my brand, I started off in Delhi, India, where generational tailors have been making clothes for like forever. So, for me, it's a commitment to excellence, like you mentioned. It's not, I have a lot of influences in my life. And so as I come out with collections, I'm going to leverage like all of my life experiences and tell a story. At the forefront of Saaf garments is storytelling, because at the end of the day, I'm not really trying to sell clothes. I'm trying to sell a story crafted around, the backgrounds, the intersections. I grew up in a very multicultural household in the sense that, I only spoke Urdu at home. But outside, like, man, I grew up like I said, in the 2000s. So like, and I went to a really big school where there was like very diverse school. And so the cultural influences were very hip hop and very like R&B and hip hop and like those type of things. And, Kanye West, 808 Heartbreak came out. Drake was just coming onto the scene. Lil Wayne was crushing it. Jay-Z was doing his thing. Young Jeezy was doing his thing. So these are kind of like the musical influences, but also like my heritage as somebody who's Indian, like that also influenced who I am and what I am. So like you'll see that throughout the collections that I've come out with and the collections that I'll come out with in the future.
I think that's like the beautiful thing about soft garments, right? Like I think like the way you described it, right? Like when you're ready to step into your moment,
yeah,
you put on soft garments, right?
No doubt.
Because I think that really encapsulates it, right? Because I think when we think about like the cultural cross section of like each of us and how that like then contributes to our work,
for sure.
I think a lot of times like in the effort of doing so, it sometimes like falls short and becomes corny for a lot of things, right? Because you're like trying to over index on one, right? But I think that's the beautiful thing about like what you do, right? And what I see so many others do, right? Where it's like, yes, part of this is my heritage, part of this is also my heritage, right? And I don't gotta perform for either side any more or less than what is innately to me.
Yeah. And I think you have to tell the story authentically. I mean, you just don't have an option to. I mean, you can try to fake it, like, but we just talked about it. How long can you be performative? I can't be performative. It's like just not in me. Innately, I got to tell my story, whatever that story is. I got to do it with a level of authenticity. I have to do it with a level of like rigor that I would expect of myself. And at the end of the day, like this is something that I want to have staying power. Like Saaf Garments is really intended to be the luxury fashion house of an American Indian designer for the culture. Like Zohran Mamdani in his acceptance speech, he hit him with and on Steinway we say ana minkum wa ilaykum. I am you and I'm from you. Like that to me was insane work. But like I resonated with that. Like my soul was like lit on fire when I heard that, because I'm like, that's really what I feel where my value proposition is as a designer. Like I am from this culture. Like I understand that I live in this duality between being raised very American and then being raised very South Asian. And my grandmother never spoke any other language other than Urdu. Like that's what I grew up with. And so I exclusively spoke that. But then I'd go to school and I got like, I put on for my city by Young Jeezy. So like those type of cultural reference points have informed where I am today, and they'll continue to, and I will continue to tell that story. And I think it's really, really important to do so.
When you first like iterated on like soft garments, right?
Yeah.
Like, did you imagine like yourself as kind of like the silhouette for the brand? Like how did you kind of like approach like, hey, like I am designing this, like the piece that somebody steps into when they're ready to hit that big stage, right?
Yeah.
Like what it was like the initial like concept of that.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, I had myself in mind. Who is like
what I would wear.
What I would wear. Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like my lens is like, if I can't wear it, then why would I even put it out? And that's really where I start with. Like, if I won't wear it, then I probably don't have any business doing anything with it. And so I wear everything. I wear it. I mean, you've seen me. Like, I'm exclusive head to toe.
Head to toe.
Like, I'm not wearing anything else. And there are other designers that may feel differently about it. But for me, I really have to believe in the story, and I have to be the poster child for the story because it's my story.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the pleated long jacket, I had just come back from Turkey. I'm obsessed with, Indian cinema. I've grown up with it, watched it. Like, I'm from the culture. I'm about that culture. But Jodha Akbar, that film, I don't know, it just stayed with me forever. But the silhouettes of the Mughal Empire during that time, those silhouettes got lost. And like, how do you bring it back into the forefront whereby, the cultural references of New York City. New York City to me is like a very Gotham city, right? So how do you bring those beautiful silhouettes to the forefront on a main stage in America? How do you do it, right? And to me, it was like, okay, I want to bring that silhouette, which is like long pleats, and almost dressed like, but not. And the top is like a sherwani, but it's like structured shoulders, structured chest, fitted, and like it's tapered in a way that's flattering. So those were kind of my cultural reference points. And then I put it together, and I put it together and I was like, I'm gonna do all black. And like when I was talking to the factory about it, my manufacturing partner was like, oh, don't you want some embroidery on it? Cause like that's like the Indian way. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but like that's not the cultural reference point that I'm trying to establish. And so when I think about the swim lane that I'm in, it's like completely unique. Like if you look in the American marketplace in the United States or globe outside of the South Asian region, it doesn't exist. And that to me is incredibly shocking.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know if you ever reflect on like the symbolism of that, right? Like I think sometimes like we forget that like, we're descended from like kings and queens and rajas, right?
Yeah.
And like when I think about like you mentioning how like this silhouette is inspired from like that empire,
Yep.
right? I'm like, wow, like that kind of just got like lost here, right?
Yep.
But it's the fact that it is that inspiration,
yep,
combined with Gotham,
yeah,
combined with the cool of Gotham,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because if it wasn't for the combination of the two, like had you made the very easy decision to just embroider it,
Yep.
just know you would have lost a large percentage of the people that deem soft garments what it is, which is
of course
fly.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. No, I think, look, I'm designing for myself in mind, right? I will wear that pleated long jacket on a Tuesday. I'm that guy. I'll pull up to brunch, but I'll also pull up to an event. I got the opportunity to go to the Gold Gala this year by Gold House. And, I was fortunate enough, like many people want to wear soft garments, and it was such a dope experience. Like I walked in and like the week before at the Met, or like a couple weeks before, like Pharrell Williams had like a photo shoot with all the people that wore Louis Vuitton at the Met Gala. And he had this photo. And I was like, all right, bet. That's the reference point. I was like, I'm next. And like for me, then when like 7 or 8 people at the Gold Gala wore soft garments, I was like, no, we got to get a picture. And the coolest part is that the photographers, the lounge booth, they're great photographers, but like I had developed a relationship with them just because they were photographing people from the last year who were wearing soft garments. Like, hey, do you mind sending that photo? I want to post it. But just naturally and organically, just building a relationship over time. I was like, hey, if I have an event, would you guys shoot it? And then I showed up and I'm like, hey, by the way, there's like 7 or 8 people that are wearing soft garments. Do you mind if we do a group shot? And they were 100% down. In fact, we coordinated it before I even got to the event. So that was like a super dope moment. But like I think about being able to make that moment happen and like what it means to like, exist in that space with all the greats. I mean, the Gold Gala is like a marquee event. Like in very short amount of time, it has become like the hottest ticket in town during that time. And to have the biggest representation of any fashion brand, period, full stop. Like no one was wearing more. Like there was no more representation of any other brand than soft garments. And this brand started in October of 2023, like first collection, to now move to May 2025, and boom, we just like dunked. Like that to me was an incredible moment, and I'm so grateful. And like we had Sagar wearing the clothes, we had Sean Sean Rizwan wearing the clothes, we had Bobby Burke, Manish Dayal, Jay Wolf, Paris. Like we just like it was incredible, like cool. And then I had the opportunity to go. Like I was invited too, and I thought I didn't even think about that. Wasn't even on my horizon. So like to not only be able to pull off that photo that I just mentioned to you that Pharrell had, but for me to be in that moment and be in that photo, man, I'm forever grateful.
No, that shit was hard.
Thank
like
you.
that, like when I was doing my like research before, I was like, obviously I've seen the picture, right? But then I'm going through, I was like, yo, when you think about it,
It's
it
insane.
is hard, right? Like, and I'm glad that you are providing the context for it because it
Yeah.
makes the story so much better.
Yep.
But like just the picture alone, right?
Yeah.
You got to think like Saga right off the Deli Boys run, right?
Yeah.
The location of it,
Yep.
right? Like you at the center, right? I was like, oh, the picture is just hard.
Yeah.
But obviously having the context of like, yo, like knowing the photographers,
For sure.
right? Having that relationship there. So it is an easy
Yeah.
lift. Not an easy lift, but it's a lift that
Yeah.
is now possible because of like months and years.
And I
of
gotta
relationship building.
give you a little more context. Like, man, at the Gold House, like the Gold Party, this is the after party. So there's like, there was over 1,000 people in that,
Mhm.
like 1,000. So I had to go find all these folks and like get their cell number. I'm like, hey, in 5 minutes, we're all gonna go downstairs and we're gonna take this shot. So even like, that's why I feel like timing is divine. And man, I'm gonna tell you this, I take none of this for granted. Like you can't
Mhm.
possibly take it for granted. I'm like, no, I'm that, you know, soft garments. No, because to pull off that shot, to pull off being able to dress folks, right? I had stylists reaching out to me very last minute. I'm talking about like 2 hours before the event. Like, hey, do you have something? I was already on a plane to like LA from New
Mhm.
York to like, you know, make it happen. And just people just thinking about the brand in such an endearing way. Gordon Cormier, like he was the avatar. Like he hit me and like we dressed him and I was able to build a relationship with him. Benson Boone, you know, Benson Boone wore soft garments right before his song hit 1 billion streams. Like right before he came out with a song that hit 1 billion streams in like record time.
Mhm.
And so that's what I mean. Like I didn't know who Benson Boone was. He went by Benny Boone when he started
Mhm.
out. And he changed to Benson Boone and, you know, he came out with this song and then he did a custom fit for the Tonight Show. He wanted a baby blue, powder blue, you know, suit. And then I got to go see him in a show and he was like, hey man, I hate suits, but like I love yours. And like, what an incredible compliment, you know, from somebody I don't know that well that has just found out about my brand and who has since repped that same suit multiple times and posted about it. It's like beautiful. So I'm grateful, man.
Nah, absolutely. Yo, I want to ask you this, and this is like on some selfish tip, right?
Yeah.
But from just observing you, the thing that like stands out to me is that like it never feels like you're really like in a rush. Like obviously, like I know the amount of work that you put in for the brand, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't ever feel like you are ever like, I never am looking at it like, yo, you're doing too much, right? Or it's
Sure.
like, it's always, it feels like there's like a patient flow there.
Yeah.
Right. And I really want to ask because that's like something that like, again, like I balance with the struggle of that, right?
Yeah.
But like, what is like kind of like your thinking when it comes to like, because in a space where we occupy, right, where
Yep.
everyone's like loudly screaming for whatever it is that they're building, representing, right?
Yep.
Like, I feel like, of course, like I know what you stand for and I know
For sure.
what the brand stands for, right?
Yep.
But it never feels like forced down my throat. It feels like a very natural consumption that I'm always participating in.
Oh man, hey, first of all, thank you so much for saying that because it doesn't feel that way to me.
Mhm.
You know, I definitely can empathize with the feelings that you're sharing. I feel like I'm not ever doing enough, to be honest. So it means a lot for you to say that, first of all. But secondarily, I think, so the guiding principle of the brand is, you know, I remember things and what people say or things that I read. And one of them is this poet, Allama Iqbal. And he says, it's an Urdu poem, I'll translate it. But it says, "Khudi ko kar buland itna कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है," which translates to establish yourself in such a way that the universe, God, comes and asks you, tell me what you want your fate to be. That has like kind of guided my life in so many ways. So I really believe like if it's for me, it's going to be for me. And I'm never out. Like you can't take from me. I don't believe that. Because just like I said, like timing is divine here. I also feel like whatever is meant to be will be. And so I've just believed that so deeply. Now that doesn't preclude you from doing the work. Like you got to do the work. And whatever you're trying to come out with has to be of a caliber that you're going to be proud of. And it has to be iterative, right? Today you might feel like this is the moment. Today you might feel like this is the table that you're going to do this pod on. Tomorrow you could be doing it at 30,000 feet in the air on a private jet. And for this moment, this is right. And for that moment, that might be right. But you still got to get to point A from point B. And that's how I feel. Like, I feel like for me, I want to come out with things that are going to be intentional, where people are like, okay, he did work on it. Like he thought about it. The brown color palette, man, I've been testing that for 2 years, trying to get the right color. So just a little bit behind the scenes, like I wanted to start the fall winter 25 drop in August, but like tariffs started to hit in April. Then like that slowed down the entire process. And then there was a decision point, like when do we release? Because typically fall winter 25 collections drop in August. Then you give the time for like customers and, you know, the world to like digest your stuff in like, you know, September and October. And then by the time, you know, Thanksgiving rolls around and Christmas rolls around, people are making purchasing decisions. So from that sense, I'm like, oh man, I'm behind. But like, no, it was meant to be. You know, I did everything I could. You know, I put the pedal to the metal, put the gas, you know, and like, this is where we're at. But what I am most concerned about every time is like, is this the best I can do in this moment? And did I do with the resources that I had? Did I come out with the best product that I had? I'm gonna say yes every single time. And if it's not, I just won't release it. Such as I didn't do it in August. I could have, but I wasn't ready. And so I'll also say this, I block out the noise, man. Like, you know, comparison is a thief of joy. And like, I'm not going to rest on my laurels that like we had, you know, Gold House in May 2025. We just hit 2 years and what have you. It's never been me. I'm always chasing the next. You can ask my wife. Mm-hmm. She's always going to tell you like, oh man, he's always on. And that is true. And it does require the work, but like, man, it can get very noisy if you let it. And I just can't let it because I'm playing the long game. Like I want this to be a lasting brand. I want this to be something that I'm proud of long term. And who am I doing this for? I'm doing this for the like 10, 11-year-old Osama. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like another thing, because I remember things that I read, but like there's only 2 people in this world that you need to think about. It's your 8-year-old self and your 80-year-old self. You know, you don't want to disappoint your 8-year-old self, and you don't want to give regret to your 80-year-old self. And I think about that a lot. So that has really defined kind of how I move. Like, can I build authentic relationships? Can I build products and a brand that's people can be proud of? You know, you pulled up to my first like big event, you know, which I love. But the next event, I want to go even bigger. And I want you to bear witness and be part of that journey with me. So for me, man, it's just like incremental steps towards greatness. And like timeline is a timeline.
I think that's what makes it like so beautiful. And like, I really want people, I wish that like, I hope that this pod is like a conduit for people to do more so research on you and the way that you move. That like outside of like, obviously like the work speak for itself.
Yep.
But I want people to kind of see everything underneath that, which is like you, right? Because I think that, bro, like that part of it is like the realest thing. Like I told you, like I was like full retirement mode from this pod, right? But like all it took was a text from you in a time where I was like just turning people down, right? To do this, because I was like, you know what? Like this, no matter what the limited interactions that me and Osama have, they've always felt rooted in something real, right? From that first show, right? From any interaction, right? Course. It's always been, and I think that's where people get things misconstrued. Sure. They think it's like when it's their season, they need to like, that's when they need to like invest in like their relationships, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, I got something to like push, or I got something to whatever, right? And it's like, yo, that's never how it works, right?
Never.
Like all of those relationships, like everybody you dressed at Gold House, Hasan at MSG.
Yep.
They're all so many smaller incremental steps.
Of course.
That you have to constantly be taking at all times to get to that big stage.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I will say this, man. What I saw, you know, when I first heard about you, I think what is so important that most people will just kind of like wash their hands off and they don't give enough credit is the tenacity to try to do something. It takes so much, like the 1,000 mental jumping jacks that you have to do every single day. There's so many pressures in this world, whether that's the noise that you're listening to from the outside, sometimes the call is coming from inside the house, you know, where, you know, you're self-doubting yourself. So when I see people who are like, I'm trying to do something of value, I'm like, bet, me too. Let's do this together. And like support the process. And when it makes sense for people to collaborate and come together, that naturally will happen because, you know, that Alama Iqbal quote, like if you establish yourself enough, then the universe will come to you and you don't have to worry about the rest. So for me, it's like, you got to show love for people who are trying, because like ASAP Rocky said, like, when you're trying, like, become like not cool, like that's some like lame stuff.
People don't realize how audacious it is to try. Like how audacious it is to try. Like how audacious it would have been for you 2 years ago when the brand launched, right? To say, yo, I'm going to dress somebody in less than 2 years that's going to go step out to a sold out MSG crowd. Like how audacious does that sound? Because like at that time when you're saying that, because that's always been the vision for you. Sure. Everybody else is now just getting to see it in the real world, right? Because that's always been the vision. Like to think that like that wasn't going to happen when you incepted. I know you're going to say like, yo, I never thought it was going to happen, but you don't start this. You don't have the inception of this concept, right? Of this brand without having that in mind or without having that goal in mind. You know that there's no point in thinking about it because I've been dreaming about it my entire life and I will dream about it when I'm asleep. Yeah. But while I'm up, I gotta do the work to make sure it's there. But the audaciousness for somebody to say that 2 years ago and then do it.
Man, you know what? Like I don't know if I could take any credit. I can only just say that I'm trying to do the work constantly. And like yesterday doesn't count for today. It never will for me. And today will not count for tomorrow. You got to keep showing up and you got to keep doing the work. And like for me, if I think about like, what am I trying to do? Does the world need another brand? Does the world need another piece of clothing? You know, statistically, probably not. But storytelling will never get lame. People are moved by stories that they can resonate with. So can you tell a story that's compelling enough for people to be like, yep, I'm bought in? And so that's like really the cornerstone. Like, what is Saaf Garments? Saaf Garments is storytelling at its finest, you know, through the lens that I have, through the creative perspective I have, and even your platform, what you're trying to do, that is by you, right? For everyone, because you're from everyone. And so like, I think you have to try. And I think it's really important for people that if you think that there's self-doubt that you shouldn't be doing something, like turn that noise down a little bit and try anyway, because there's somebody who's paying attention. I've had, you know, some incredible experiences. I'm new at this, you know, and I have no qualms about saying that. I have inspirations. People have inspired me. I'm very fortunate, but I have people that have come up to me and said, hey man, like what you're doing, like it's moved me, or like the purchasing decision is a wild phenomenon. I don't think that people take enough inventory of what it takes for people to take their hard-earned money and transact on a product. It's huge because they're basically saying that I'm going to let go of these dollars for this arbitrary thing. And if that arbitrary thing doesn't have value and you haven't sold them on the value of that, are they buying the shirt or are they buying the story? And like 9 times out of 10, anything of value, now you can't be complete trash, but every purchasing decision that anybody makes is based on this idea of value. And so for me, like that stays at the forefront. I got to be able to wear it. I got to be able to rep it. And the perspective can't get lost. And so, you know, what you see behind the scenes of me posting and like, I'm just constantly trying to tell that story, man, and be as authentic as I can while I do it.
You talked inspirations. Are there designers that inspire you? Are there brands that inspire you?
Yeah, no doubt. I think there are like several brands. I think, you know, the Slaves collection is heavily inspired by like 1989, you know, Giorgio Armani, spring, summer, fall, winter. Like if you look at the silhouettes from them, like you'll see the vision there. When I first started out, like, Fear of God was like, you know, Jerry Lorenzo. Like, man, I just think that what he's been able to curate and create is like insane. Sabyasachi, you know, I got the opportunity to meet Sabyasachi before I launched in August of 2023. I walked into, like, I was there for, you know, a final like quality control trip before I launched. So August 2023, I'm launching in October 2023. So like, this is just a couple months before I launch. I had already shot the campaigns. This is like right after me and Nick Hill, you know, shot the campaign, and he was in them. He was the face of the campaign. But I had the campaign video, and I'll tell you this because I think you'll appreciate this. I had put myself in the campaign video, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, man, this is not the vibe. Like, you can't put yourself in the product. But I'm, you know, in retrospectively, I'm kind of glad that I did, because like I had to put that fit on and just like, you know, have some staying power with it because I believed in it and I'm in the video. But inside, you know, you talk about like the insecurities. I was like, man, this is not a good decision. Thankfully, I have positive voices around me. My wife being, you know, one of my biggest cheerleaders. But in any case, we walked into the Delhi store because my wife wanted to go to the Sabyasachi store in Delhi. And every store, every Sabyasachi store is like a work of art. It's a complete museum. So like, we're walking around. I'm like, man, I'm really trying to get back to the factory. Like I'm trying to be in the cut. We walk upstairs and who's sitting there? The GOAT himself. And I immediately, like, I will never, it's like going to like Michael Jordan and be like, yo, I play basketball too. That's crazy,
Yeah.
So I wasn't about to do it. But my wife is so great in the sense that she's like, so I see him. My wife like doesn't say anything. She's like, oh my God, Tim. She's like, oh my God. And he's clearly used to this because everybody's starstruck by him. But I immediately went into like giving flowers. And what I said to him is like, what you established in New York, you planted the flag. And he didn't just open up a store. I don't know if you had the chance to go to Sabyasachi.
Yeah.
All right. Like he planted a flag for the culture. And he said, we've arrived. And I said, I think it was such a seismic moment for people who are from here to see that. And I just want to say like, job well done. And his reaction to that was, come sit, do you want some chai? From the GOAT himself. And for 40 minutes, he gave me free game. I showed him my the campaign video. And I don't know if you've seen, this happens to you, but like anytime that I show somebody like my work, I got to pull it back real quick because I'm like, you probably are not interested in this.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably a waste of your time. I'm so sorry. And he grabbed the phone. He's like, nah, I'm watching it. And it was a minute long and we were like 26 seconds in. I'm like, nah, I got to pull it back because like, you don't want to see this. He held that phone, watched the whole thing, leaned back, and with like grace, thought, he just gave me how he felt about it. And he said to me, and I'll say this to you, you just got to survive the distance. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be 10 years from now. You got to survive the distance. And that stayed with me. That's August of 2023. And, we're still standing. We're trying to go and we're trying to do it. And it's on my page. I have it up. My wife, like, that's another thing, is like, she knows, like, she's intuitively like, boom, her camera came out. She recorded the whole interaction. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful thing, man. And so I'm very grateful for that. But, that's just kind of part of the lore. Like, and you just don't know, man. Like I'm so excited to tell you about these stories because when, as you are building something of value and of substance, these things will happen to you. And I think what's really important is to take inventory of that. You can't rest on it, but it builds on it. Like when I'm telling you this story and narrating it back to you, I was in the moment when this was happening, but I knew like I had an out of body experience. I was like, nope, I'm going to talk about this one day.
Yeah.
So I got to be locked in. And I could tell you the feelings and like, and the way that Saaf garments is described is it's described as flamboyant minimalism. And that was coined by the GOAT himself, Sabyasachi, about my brand in August of 2023. So every press release you see, Saaf garments is described as flamboyant minimalism. And like that, I didn't make that up. Like he did.
That's insane.
And he gave it to me. And that's a gift. So like, I pay respects to the GOATs. I mean,
bro, that is, if y'all haven't checked out the Sabyasachi store, I know like mostly a lot of people have, right?
Yeah.
But wow, like something like we don't talk about it enough, right?
Yeah.
For something like that to exist in New York,
insane.
Like just like the build of like what it is, like because he could have just popped up a store,
right?
But for what the store is,
no doubt,
how it's designed from every aspect,
no doubt.
Like it's just so insane that something like that exists in New York.
And if you think about the timing, right? Like you just think about the timing in which. And he gave me the play-by-play in terms of how many delays he was like, I was crying, I was up at night. He built that store via Zoom because of COVID. Because it was supposed to open in 2018 or 2019 and it opened after. And so I just really think about like that. And you think about this moment here. You think about the culture winning. You think about, and I've talked about this before, like we just named the brand ambassador, Rishal Ranjan. Rishal Ranjan is a classical music composer based out of London. He grew up in Cyprus. He doesn't even speak Hindi or Urdu or Punjabi. Like he doesn't speak the languages, but he's literally composing music for the culture in such an incredible way that he is combining Qawwali music, which is like, hundreds of years old or thousands at this point, or hundreds probably, with a live orchestra. And he just announced a residency at the Royal Albert Hall. I mean, like the wave of the culture and also the duality of the culture and how it's winning. Sabyasachi planted a flag for India, right? Which is fantastic and great. And the culture wins for that. But you think about the duality of the people who have grown up with South Asian roots, but in a very, Western American setting or an English setting or what have you, and bringing those two cultures in a way that makes sense, that's consumable. That to me is like, okay, all right, we're on one right now. So like it really made sense for me to name him as brand ambassador because he's representing exactly what I'm trying to do. And for me to take inventory and reflect on the fact in the moment that we're in, I've described it before, I'll describe it. We are in a golden era. We will look back in 2025 and be like, yo, the culture was winning. And so I think the responsibility today for all of us who are trying to build something of value and substance is to, keep that flame alive so that like 2026 is on like, 2025 was the warm up, 2026 is like something where we like really start to take off.
Nah, absolutely. Bro, we wrap every episode with a segment called Call Your Shot. My version dash idea of manifesting, the idea being is that you come up here,
Yeah.
say something in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever timeline that you feel comfortable with.
Yep.
Something that you will make happen. The idea being when you do this, I will clip it up and probably post it and be like, yo, got it here first.
Oh, for sure.
So Osama Syed.
Yeah.
Shot.
So my shot is, I want to build Saaf Garments into the global destination for the culture and by the culture. And I will do that.
My guy. Appreciate you doing this, brother.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you all for listening. Peace.